Hi there and welcome. My name's Andrew. I'm a music producer with about just say 6.5 years of experience, full-time professional composing now, and I have about 600, just over 600 tracks in music libraries with hundreds, probably thousands of placements all over the world with my music, from bizarre sort of American sitcoms to BBC primetime shows. And I'm going to go through 50 top secrets and tips to make your music production life easier. They're going to be short, succinct, and I can pretty much guarantee that you will find something, no matter what your experience level is, that will be useful here. Okay, so without wasting any further time, let's get on and see how long this takes to get through 50 of these secrets. First one then, number one. Wait until you're between projects before updating anything. Do not update anything. Contact sample libraries, your DAW, while you're in the middle of a project. I've done it. It's a disaster. Well, it was a disaster. Wait till you're in between projects and just time anything like that, so that if you do have downtime or you do lose stuff, it's not going to be disastrous. Number two, cut EQ before you boost. Now, we're all wanting to play with EQ, and there's a temptation to highlight stuff and to make stuff louder all the time and bigger all the time. This applies to mixing as well. It's much better if you reduce all of the stuff around it and you cut stuff rather than boosting stuff. You just get a much cleaner mix like that. Number three, high pass or remove unwanted bass from all instruments. You will be totally surprised how much excess bass there is, or sometimes there's noise rumble and floor sounds and all sorts of things, even in sort of fairly high violin samples and things like that. Cut it all out. Be very careful though that you don't change the timbral tone of the instrument, so only cut sort of below the lowest sound, the lowest note that it's going to play. Number four. I'm going to do that lots of times. I get mixed up. It's on my laptop here. Mix in mono, then in stereo. Pretty self-explanatory. Number five, use reference tracks. Oh my goodness, this is so important. If you've got something to reference, if you're listening to something, you know what you're aiming for, and you're literally A-Bing one to the other. It's such a short, quick way of learning to get the production right. It's such a quick way and great way of learning structure, how to get vibe, how to mix instruments together. Reference tracks also really helps you to sort of know where you're going as well. If you've got a reference track or several reference tracks to give you a vibe or an emotion, you're not just composing sort of out of thin air. You've got a reference point and you've got a starting point. Number six, use automation as frequently and as much as you can as possible. There's a temptation just to play stuff into your DAW. Automate is my top secret. The more you can automate, the more human it will sound, the more realistic it will sound. The less even and level everything is and mechanical everything is, and the more variety and variation there is, the more human, the more natural, the more musical it will sound. Number seven, use ear candy in gaps. What do I mean by that? Well, often people's mixes sound a bit dull and empty, and it's not that the melody's not good, the bass is good, there's a bit of percussion, but there's missing little bits of counterpoint or counter melody in small gaps. It might just be cymbal swooshes, it might be the odd note, it might be just a little tinkle on some percussion or something, but try and fill in the gaps just to catch the ear, to add little sort of cherries on the top, little of those horrible little sprinkles that you put on ice cream, those little sweet sprinkles, just to really catch the ear in the gaps and to put the icing on the cake. Number eight, use a template to speed up your process. So easy to say, set it up, just do it. It speeds you up no end. Number nine, try to avoid looping and listening to the same bit over and over again. Boy, do we all do that. Over listening to your track, getting stale in your hearing, listening to a track just for the sake of listening to it. It's a waste of time and it spoils your sort of fresh, objective overview of the whole track, I think. Maybe do it once at the beginning of a session, maybe at the end of a session, and make notes on what needs doing during those periods. But repeatedly looping, hoping that you'll work out what comes next, is a sure way of just like drilling insanity into your brain. It's terrible. Number 10, if you are stuck, try transposing the whole lot up or down, or change the tempo to get a fresh perspective. So many times I find this helps move me forward. Just literally highlight the whole lot in your DAW, shove it all up a semitone or down a semitone, listen to it, and actually it will sound different in a different key. Put it five beats per minute faster or slower. Does it help? You know, you get a totally different sort of view sometimes if you do those things. Number 10, take regular breaks. Oh, it's so tempting to sit for 3-4 hours and write on a track. Genuinely, absolutely 100% believe that the more breaks and the fresher you come to a track, the more creative you are and the more likely you are to progress with it. I break every 50 minutes or so for 10 minutes or more and move, exercise, do exercises, go out, run, have a cycle ride, walk the dog. You know, you need to mix this sedentary, blood clotting sort of sitting with movement to get the energy and the breathing going and get some fresh air and some sunshine in between. You'll be really surprised. Oh, what I would say is don't go out for a walk with headphones on if you are sort of in the midst of composing. I frequently find having a shower or going out for a walk, no headphones, just having a listen and a think, it just sort of helps me to like just sort of somehow subconsciously work stuff through. So that works really, really well. Number 12, learn a few high quality instruments or libraries in depth rather than trying to learn everything all in one go. You'll get on so much better if you have a small number of really high quality libraries that you really know how to manipulate and how to get the best out of than you will trying to thinly sort of spread yourself across loads and loads of libraries and not really know what's going on. Number 13, minimize distractions when you're working and work out how to get into a flow state quickly. Phone goes off, door gets shut, family is trained not to come in when the door is shut unless it's an emergency, internet goes off, I'm pointing to me at my door over here. Anything that you can do to distract and get into a flow state. I have a light I put on, which I don't know whether it encourages me to compose, but I know when the light's on behind my screen here that I'm going to compose. Other people do things like wear particular types of clothes, light a candle, whatever, just to signal to your brain that it is composing time and get into flow. Number 14. Visualize what instruments might sound like in a hall or a space in front of you in real life while you're composing. Listen back to your music, close your eyes. Does this sound like you could be in a concert hall, in a venue, or does it sound like it's just coming out of a computer speakers, and why? That visualization where the instruments are sitting, where the players are on a stage or in a space is really, really, really helpful. 15, use reverb sparingly. So many, I think, beginner composers just oversplosh stuff with loads and loads of washy reverb. Cut it back. Also, try mixing dry. Try mixing, getting a really, really good mix dry, and then adding a little bit of reverb afterwards to each of the instruments. That works really, really well. 16, if a track is proving hard to mix, it's probably the arrangement that's at fault. Bear that one in mind. 17, keep space in between individual parts and lines. Avoid crossing over. So, okay, I'm thinking sort of, imagine a string quartet. You've got two violins, you've got a viola, and you've got a cello. Broadly speaking, you've got violin, viola, cello, and they shouldn't sort of overlap. They can, but sonically they work a lot better if you've got a big space between the bass and the viola, and you've got smaller space between the three at the top, but they're not crossing over. They're sort of running parallel. If they get close together, it gets very sort of muddly and mixed up. Try and keep them separate if you can do. Try to separate your creative from your analytical mind. Try to separate your creative from your analytical mind. When you're composing, compose, create. Try not to judge. Switch that analytical little sod in your brain that say, well, that's a load of bullshit, Andrew, isn't it? You've made this up before, or I've heard much better than this. Why is this so boring? Why does this sound so corny? Switch that off and just create. That's not to say that you shouldn't use your analytical mind at a later stage when you're trying to work out how to improve, but getting the flow going switches off. Number 19, think in musical sentences and paragraphs. Number 20, save very regularly and back up after every session. Oh God, it's so obvious. Seems to get fairly frequent power cuts here. Maybe once a fortnight, once a month, we get a quick power cut, everything dies and then comes back on again. I'm not joking, I literally hit Control S probably every 10 or 15 seconds, almost every time I've made a change on my door project. And back up, for goodness sake. Use Trello to keep track of your tracks and progress. I'm going to do a video on that, I think. Learn your speakers by listening to high quality music on them. It's no good just listening to your speakers for the music that you produce on them. You need to listen to really good music that you're sort of aspiring to. What does that sound like coming out of your speakers? Learn what your speakers sound like and emulate that. Number 23. Use a speaker calibration software like SonarWorks, Sound ID, and consider treating your room acoustically. It's a massive thing. It can make some massive difference to your mix. 24. If you're not having fun when you're writing, leave it, come back to it. 25. Collaborate and make music with others. This was something I didn't do for a long, long time. I do a lot of remote recording. It's just wonderful. Live players, it makes such a difference, and collaborate with people who are better than you, just a little bit better than you. If you surround yourself with people who are, at a higher level, you will naturally rise up with them. 26. Make undistracted listening a daily habit. So much value in even listening for 5 or 10 minutes. Eyes closed, headphones on, or on your speakers to learn them. Like I said a minute ago, just listening to almost anything, letting it soak in, feel the emotion, listening to how the track's put together or the music's put together. That undisturbed quality listening is a skill I think we are losing, and I think cumulatively, if you do that day in, day out, weeks, months and years, it has it's like building money in the bank. It's like a reserve of knowledge and inspiration. On that note, number 27, life is too short for crappy headphones. Headphones are expensive. I think there's so many reviews about it around at every budget level. If you're buying headphones, get the best you can afford. 28, try not to compare your music with others too much. It can be really, really, well, to a certain extent you have to, because you are aspiring, but it's very easy to think, oh God, that sounds so great. It's a bit like cooking. Your own cooking never tastes as good as somebody else, because you know all what went into it, that you didn't stir it and you burnt a bit and you forgot to put the salt in and all of this stuff. But actually other people's cooking always tastes better because you don't really know what's behind it. So you get a bit of a weird, biased, negative view anyway. And it can be really depressing. It's like comparing yourself to stuff on social media. You don't know the context, how that music was produced. It's useful for aspiring, but don't take it too seriously. Much more important is to compare your progress. Is the track I'm just finished now better than the tracks I was doing 6 months ago? So you can see that sort of progress, and that's much more realistic, quantifiable, and encouraging, I think. Number 29, even a slight improvement from track to track is progress to be celebrated. And I think we really need to do that. We need to celebrate that we've just learned something. I learned something on my door this morning. I can't actually remember what it is now, but I thought, oh, that's new. But you do learn something new every day. Number 30, composing a bit each day is better than doing a whole day once a week. Number 31, record parts in separately and don't quantize too much. Don't copy and paste them. Play them musically using automation, so that you're imitating the sound of an ensemble of 5, 6, 7, 8 different players rather than literally copying and pasting the parts. Number 32, moments of silence in music can be really powerful. Tiny little slivers of silence in really loud tracks, for example. Number 33, mix at a low volume. It's very tempting to mix really loudly. Mix at a low volume. If you can hear everything balanced correctly at low volume, it'll sound great louder. For me, most of my music goes onto TV or film. It's usually played at a low volume. Sometimes there's even talking, God damn it, over the top of it. How dare they? It's got to sound good, really, really quiet. Not barely audible, but well below sort of what you might want to sort of play it at. It's a really, really good tip. Number 34, don't listen to anything over 85 dB. It will damage your hearing. You can get dB monitors apps to put on your phone. I don't know how accurate they are, but it's better than nothing. And you can wear ear protectors if you go to a gig or something loud. Just don't do it. Say your hearing is so precious. I cannot tell you how losing my hearing frightens me. My parents are in their 80s and are both going slightly deaf. I have always been deaf in my left ear, more or less. Hearing is so fragile. Do not damage it. Number 35, bounce to audio frequently. Listen with fresh ears away from your door. That's where your analytical thinking comes in, and your analytical mind. 36, listen to this one. You probably don't need that new sample library that you're lusting over and that Spitfire have got under your skin and told you that you actually really need to have. Get to know what you already have really well. I should add to that, only buy sample libraries on Black Friday. 37, less is more. We all have a tendency to overcomplicate. Guilty. God, I do that so much. Get your message across as simply as possible. So, complicated melodies, complicated harmonies, complicated chord progressions, simplify. 38, try having several tracks on the go at the same time so that you don't get bogged down with just one. From the one's not working, leave it, come to the other one, so you've got a turnover of stuff that you're working on fresh all of the time. 39, accept that your track will sound crap for a start when you're working on it. Learn to recognize potential, and that's the key. We all sound crap when we're working stuff out. I've just put a YouTube video on this week. This is a week or two back now of live composing, and it sounded really shitty for a start, but it sort of got a bit better as it went along. But you've got to recognize potential and keep confidence in what's happening. 40, we're getting there, aren't we? Number 40, if you can afford it, and we can't all, but if you can, a large monitor or 2 monitors set up makes life infinitely easier. I would totally and utterly recommend spending money on a large monitor if you're able to. 41. Similarly, I'm really lucky I've been able to afford, it cost me about 500 quid, a stand sit desk. I'm pointing to it over here. If you can buy a stand sit desk, if you can go to that, it's revolutionary just in terms of keeping you fresh, of moving, stopping backache. I found it £500 so worth investing in. Number 42, sleep a lot, eat good food, and exercise. All of those 3 things feed into your brain health, your physical health, which very directly, I was going to say indirectly, I think directly feeds into how well you can concentrate, how creative you are, your mood, your feeling, and how well you compose. Number 43, nurture your talent, recognize your weaknesses, and learn and practice to develop specific things, specific weaknesses. Work out what you need to improve on, learn about it, and practice it is really important. God, I hope that didn't sound too patronizing. Aim to finish everything. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Just push through and finish your tracks. You learn more creating more imperfect tracks than you do 2 or 3 perfect ones. 45. Create your own sounds, record and create, and make instruments in Kontakt. It's dead simple. It really is, and really satisfying. 46. You might disagree with this. I don't know. Be careful who you ask for feedback on your music. You don't know the experience or the agenda of people on forums, etc. Your family will just be too nice and say, wow, that sounds amazing. Look for a mentor or an experienced professional who you can trust if you can do that. Or if you are putting stuff online, I think I personally would, I never have done actually, but I think I would say, okay, well, what do you think? Can I have some advice on the structure of this piece? Or can I have some advice on, I don't know, the drum sound in this piece? I would ask for specific advice rather than saying, can you tell me if this track is good or not? Because you get all sorts of crap back, I think, to be honest. 47, try to have a hook or a motif in every track to make it as earwormy and as memorable as possible. 48, you write music in a different way to any composer on the planet. Embrace your individuality. 49, use live instruments as much as possible. Use the same samples as everyone else sparingly, Spitfire. Look for the unusual. Everyone's using Spitfire. Everyone's using the same big sample libraries, you know. And we have to use them to a certain extent, but look for the weird stuff. You look for stuff you've made yourself. Look, you know, in the cracks. Look a little bit deeper for something a bit more unique. 50, remember you are on a journey. Anything worthwhile, like composing, takes time, and being a composer is literally a lifetime's journey. We've all, at whatever stage we're at, got huge amounts to learn. Progress will be slow. It is slow, but powerful, rewarding, and steady. Think in terms of years and decades in terms of your improvements, and not just in terms of weeks and months. Now, if you've made it this far, thank you. That's 50, and I hope they've been really helpful. Number 51, tip number 51, is probably the best one of all, and that's just switch off YouTube right now. And rather than watching another YouTube video looking for hints and tips or ways to improve, look back over this video or think of the 2 or 3 tips you might have remembered, switch off YouTube, go to your door and put them in action. Hope that was really helpful. If you've got any more tips or any comments, I'd love to hear from you. Just write down below. And I'll see you in another video soon, after you've done your learning in your door. Cheers. Bye-bye.